Hi, everybody. My name is Ali Lee. The camera's shaking because I just pressed record. It's settled. Great. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am an awakening soul in a very unawakened world. I am here, like many of you, to really ignite this place and create a new earth. And I really want to make this YouTube channel to help as many souls as possible because I know that once you start doing the inner work on yourself and once you have your quote unquote first spiritual awakening, because you will have many, many awakenings, it is a jarring experience. Some of you may everyone experiences different things, right? When in the beginning of my journey, when I first had my first initial awakening, is when I started doing inner child work on myself. And when you start doing the inward work, of course, it's going to lead you down the path of awakening to the understanding and knowing that you are so much more than you've ever thought that you were, right? I lived my entire life up until 32 years old thinking um, that this was just merely a sucky experience. I don't know where I came from. I don't know what I am. I grew up very religious my entire life. And then when I woke up to the cult that was religion, Christianity, I completely swung the pendulum and I went down a path of denouncing anything that had to do with God, goddess, that had anything to do with s- anything that religion taught me. I went the other way and I was like, all of that's BS. I'm just going to be as earthly as possible. And for many, many years, I was really lost. I was really, really lost. And I was just looking to the world to find answers, So when I would look at the old earth, when I would look at the place that I grew up in, right, I would be like, okay, so this place values success, fame, money, success. So that's what I'm going to chase. And I was never meant to walk down that path because it is a superficial path, and it is this life and who you are is so much deeper, so much deeper. And so when I was 32 years old, I finally hit the rock bottom of all rock bottoms, and I knew that something had to change. And I started doing inner work on myself, and I started doing inner child work. And that's when I started seeing all these angel numbers. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? I think I'm losing it. And I didn't have any friends or anybody in my life that could really, explain to me what the hell was going on. Why was I seeing 1111 so much that I thought I was losing I thought I was going crazy. I was like, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. So I went on Google. Okay. And I said, I'm seeing 1111 everywhere, constantly, incessantly. And what came up for me was angel numbers. And I was like, what? What's that? And whenever you go inward, it inevitably opens the door to the path of you now discovering and becoming who you really are, right? And when I say that, I'm still on the path of understanding, discovering who I truly, truly am. Okay. It is a journey, it is a process, but holy shit. I'm 38 now, and I started doing the work on myself 32. I started doing the real work on myself when I was 35. And so the last 6 years of my life have been nothing short of insane in the most beautiful ways and the most challenging ways and the most holy ways. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean. The problem with the world of spirituality, and I'm going to just say it like that so you understand what I mean, right? So I know a lot of you guys, are wanting to heal, are wanting to be different, are wanting to change, are wanting to learn what it means to actually connect to the love that you are. You want to learn how to navigate this crazy ass world because we are in a time right now where we are witnessing the world crumbling, right? And so there may be a lot of fear that you're feeling, a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, a lot of I don't know what's going to happen, what's happening, and you're lost in your mind and you're lost in the suffering. And you're trying your best to find truth. You're trying your best to find, the teacher that's going to teach you how to heal, how to elevate for real, how to help this world, right? And when I walked into the world of spirituality, little did I fucking know. I was very naive. I was very I just didn't know anything about anything. So I would look around, the spiritual matrix I call it, and I was like, well, they all seem to be pretty fucking happy. So let me just try it all. And I did. I when I became a really good meditator and breath work, and I went on, spiritual influencer women's retreats, and I did plant medicine, and, I did the EFT tapping, and I did the affirmations, and I read all the motherfucking books. I read all the book. Every book. If you look at my bookshelf, you will see all the different things that I've done, all the different books that I've read, and I listen to all the podcasts. I mean, I dive in. When I'm in, I'm 100% in. Let's go. Okay? I'm like the Michael Phelps of diving into things. Anyways, so I truly, thought that they had all the answers, and I had to learn a lot of lessons along the way about the amount of charlatans that are in the spiritual matrix, the amount of masks that people wear, the facades, the people who get a huge spiritual ego, out of, being something about, all the things. I had to learn my own lessons, and after a few years of walking in that world, I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of bullshit here. And there's a lot of plants that are planted in the world of spirituality to veer as many souls off the beating path as they can. You think that they don't have plants in the world of spirituality? They sure fucking do. And we will see those charlatans being exposed for what they are. Okay. And all of these false, very dangerous teachings out there of sex being your life force energy, and about, all relying on sex and orgasms, and how you need a tribe and your people and all this shit, and like all this love and light BS. And listen, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to find your community. There's nothing wrong with you being into sex. There's nothing wrong with, you ecstatic dancing and doing full moon ceremonies. But if you think that's what's elevating your consciousness, if you think that that's what's healing you, if you think that's what's um, evolving you as into a divine being, there's a lot for you to still learn. And I say that because I had to go through a lot of that to actually be on the path of what it means to do the work on myself, and to actually start to learn true spiritual education, because it's been completely hidden from us, because that's part of the agenda. They don't want, and when I say they, okay, there's certain words that I'm not going to use on these YouTube videos, because they'll get flagged. I get so many of my TikTok videos taken down, but they are the people at the top that control, manipulate, brainwash, mind control all of us. Okay. And they don't want you to connect back to what and who you are. So they've done everything to make sure that you never awaken to the truth of you. Okay. So they'll sprinkle truth all over the place, right? Little bits of truth. And then many souls get veered off. And that's the truth. Listen, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to find a community. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking for a community because you're awfully alone, um, because you need people to depend on, right? You're only locking in your shit forever. And you will create and be a part of a community that is made up of just other wounded people that need one another. Okay. The kind of community that will thrive in the new earth will be all individual powerful beings who are have gone and are continuing to go into the depths of why they run loneliness, why they're codependent, why they need people, and they alchemize it and become powerful, more powerful. Now you put those kind of people into a community, now we're talking. You understand? And there is so much spiritual bypassing that is taught in the spiritual matrix. There is, right? There's a lot of people that just want to focus on the love and the light. I did this panel one time with all of these women, and me and this woman were speakers, and I was talking about how, there's so much suffering that is happening within all of us. And the work that we have to do is to see why we are suffering, do the work around it so that we can actually start to live and create a life for ourselves where suffering no longer exists, because we are connected to the divine that we are. And I remember the other woman, she was very different from me. And she was like, "Oh, you make everything so sad and depressing." And her whole thing and what she taught about was like embodiment and dancing and like, getting in touch with your wild feminine and living life of pleasure and all of these things. And listen, I'm not saying that there isn't beauty in those things, but that's not healing people. It's not elevating people's levels of consciousness. Okay. If you want to go ecstatic dance and you want to go jump in a river naked with other women, do it. But that's not healing or elevating your level of consciousness, and it's not changing this world. It's not. And that's just the truth, right? Let's just call it what it is. Okay. And so I say this to all of you because it is time for us to wake the fuck up to everything that is being thrown at us, that is trying to lure you, that is trying to veer you off the path so that you get fucking lost in the sauce. Okay? Because they want as many souls to get lost in the sauce. Okay? That's why all these like spiritual influencers and these gurus and these people that claim to be whatever and who have a lot of followers and all these things, especially a lot of them are men. And we need to wake up to something. Stop listening to men. Stop being taught by men. And that doesn't mean that there aren't a handful. And when I say handful, I literally mean a handful of men who are truly on the path of becoming divine men. But most of the men that you see out there are not. Okay. There are a lot of charlatans, and then there are a lot of unhealed, egotistical, narcissistic men who are really good at creating a business and also who use their position of what they are to coerce, manipulate, rape women. Okay. We have to stop following men. And we have to start listening and being taught by enlightened, powerful women who walk their talk. Period. End of story. And even right now, it's sad to say there are not a lot of them. There are not. Okay. I can only name one for you. And that is my teacher, Rachel Fiori. 100%. That is the only person that I can name. And that's really sad. But it is what it is. So we move forward, we go on. I'm going to be sharing a lot of this stuff on this YouTube channel because I know that as the world crumbles, there are going to be and continue to be great awakenings that are going to continue to happen, souls that are waking up from their zombie like state and who are ready to do the work because they're tired of being the way that they are, of living in this existence they've created for themselves, and are sick of seeing the world the way that it is. One, for me, I do the work because I want to leave this planet knowing that I became what I needed to become so that this world can, number one, go back to its rightful place of being a planet of oneness, of harmony, of being led by powerful women, because women are the true leaders. Um, I want this planet, Mother Earth, to be a place of complete and utter harmony where there is no more brutality and war and genocide and sexism and misogyny and inequality and abuse, neglect, torture of children, of women, of animals, of nature beings. That's why I do the work. Okay. That's why I do the work. And in order for us to create and help her create the new earth, we got to become new earth. We got to change. We got to shift our frequency. We got to become a being of oneness. And that takes work, and it is warriors' work. And you have to be willing and devoted to walk that path because this path, the true path of awakening, it ain't no fucking joke. The path of becoming a being of oneness in a world of patriarchal evil and where we have been so brainwashed, traumatized, oppressed, mind controlled, programmed, conditioned to live out our lives completely in severance from our divinity, to walk that path, to heal everything that's in there that comes from that place, it ain't no cakewalk. And it takes willingness and devotion, and it takes work. But I'll tell you something. Come up here, baby. Once you walk this path and you truly are devoted to becoming a being of oneness, you will never want to stop. You'll never want to look back. You'll never want to, because how can you when you are starting to unlock the truth of you, the powerful, mystical, divine being that is you? You are a fractal piece of the creator of all that is. And I can tell you that all day. Or you can learn how to become and feel what I'm talking about. So this is a YouTube channel that I hope will be a lighthouse for many souls who are trying to find their way to divine truth, who are trying to learn how to start listening to their souls, having their souls heal them and teach them, and be willing and devoted to become and do what it takes to become the vibrational frequencies of what the new earth is. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. And all of the links and more information that you want to learn about Masters of Self University is down below. We also have a podcast called Masters of Self University Podcast. You should definitely check that out. Definitely. And The 20 Universal Ways of Oneness is written by Rachel Fiori. It's a book. It's on Amazon. And it is the 20 spiritual decrees for you to become an enlightened being on this planet, a being of oneness. Thanks so much for watching. I will be continuously uploading videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.